Hey there, friends and enemies, JoPaWrites here again, and today I want to talk about why Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League could really benefit from an open beta before launch in early February 2024. I think this is a game with a ton of potential, but it really needs to maximize its player base in order to see that. Like a lot of other live service games, it will really benefit by having a full player base. So, why do I think a open beta could be really helpful? First off, we recently had a closed alpha, which by all accounts was very successful. Those who played are under NDA, so they can't get into any kind of specifics, but the general sentiment coming out of that was significantly improved from people. A lot of folks who did mention that they had played the alpha really were excited about the gameplay they got hands on with, and I think that's very telling. This looks like a game, from what we've seen, that can have a lot of opportunity for fun, exciting gameplay, but from the things that we've seen so far just in trailers, I don't know if it necessarily captures that in the best regard. This is the type of game you might have to play first in order to really get a feel for how good it actually is. And that's why a beta could really cement the fact that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is much better than the early previews that we had previously gotten. Some of the initial looks before the game was delayed really felt weird, disconnected, almost like the game didn't know what it wanted to be. Is it a single player or co-op story based game that just has endgame and live service tacked on? Is it a live service game that's going to casually have a story but not really anything to write home about? There was a lot of questions about that, especially with some of the gameplay when you saw just a bunch of big purple targets all over the map with different characters, different enemies that you're shooting at. That was how you would know a weak spot. It just didn't look as exciting as it possibly could have been. Now, I know a lot of people who have been fully interested in Suicide Squad from day one will tell you otherwise, but the general sentiment online has been that this game is likely not going to be successful, and that's after the underwhelming results of Marvel's Avengers, of Gotham Knights, and other games that have been multiplayer superhero games lately. The single player games have been very good. You have Spider-Man, you have other single player superhero games that have been successful. Blade was just announced. Everyone's excited about that. The Wonder Woman game sounds like it's going to be awesome, but there's still a bit of reservation about not only co-op superhero games, but also live service ones as well. And for me personally, I think this game is going to be an absolute blast to play. Everything that I've seen, whether it's the build crafting, the different characters, the movement, the boss battles, all of it looks very fun to me personally. But I was also somebody who really enjoyed Marvel's Avengers for what it was as well. And so I may be the perfect target audience for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And that's why I've looked outside of my own personal preferences to look at folks who this game should appeal to, but haven't shown enough of an interest at this point. There's a lot of people who look at Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League because of the live service nature, because so many live service games have failed very quickly, like Anthem. You look at Fallout 76, which eventually made a comeback, but really struggled at launch. And you just have just that negative idea in your head that these games aren't going to be what you want them to be. Whereas if we get a initial hands-on gameplay that not only can we play before launch, we can also post videos on. I think that's something that would really benefit Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League by having natural reactions online, by having different content creators able to use new footage, different gameplay, and really showcase the game for everything that it is, and not just what has been made up in the minds of people who have judged the game very harshly right from the beginning. And so all of that is just something that I have been thinking through recently. I really would like the idea of a beta. We've seen it with other multiplayer games all the way back from Destiny, we got COD, all these games have betas that are not necessarily going to improve the game significantly afterwards. They will get player feedback from them. At this point, though, a month out from launch, if we got a beta for Suicide Squad, it's not going to be anything that we're going to see significantly improvements from the beta to the full launch. But what we would see is just general player sentiment, probably some building of hype, especially if we get some real targeted gameplay aspects, like certain missions that are going to be very, very fun to play. We get a little taste of using the vehicles that they showcased in the last update video we got from the developers. So there's a lot of that I think could be shown off and actually let you get hands-on with, that would be exciting, get people talking about the game, and really do a lot of the marketing for the developers over at Rocksteady, because the marketing is likely going to ramp up in the near future. We're going to see a lot of ads for this game, but overall it's the type of game that has been very polarizing so far, and because of that, it needs a big win. And I don't know if waiting until launch will get that win necessarily. And I would hate for this game to ultimately fail, not because it's a bad game or anything like that, but because it just doesn't generate the excitement and the hype that it needs in order to be successful and generate the revenue necessary to keep a live service game going over time. I think that's something that Destiny has been the perfect showcase for that, where the game still generates a ton of revenue, but it's not enough because of how taxing the live service gameplay can be on content development for a studio. So that's all things to keep in mind, and something that, again, I've been thinking about very frequently recently, because for me, not only as a content creator, but also as a gamer in general, I am looking for a game like Suicide Squad where I can really jump in. I love superheroes, so that's a perfect crossover for me. I do enjoy live service games like Warframe and Destiny and all of those types of ongoing looter shooter types, or MMO FPS, whatever you want to call them. I really enjoy that type of game. So this theoretically would be the perfect game for me, and I do want it to succeed long term. So I'm really hopeful that Rocksteady is able to do everything possible for it to be a success, not only at launch, but a year, 2, 3 years from now, potentially. So I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts. Would you think that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League would benefit from an open beta? Do you think it's too late for that to be something that will be helpful, or too late to implement? Because it might not be feasible. I think it would be, because we did get that closed alpha, and that would be a similar process, I would imagine. But again, I'm not a game developer, so I don't know the details of that. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below. My name is Jopa. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you want to see more Suicide Squad content from me going forward, definitely subscribe to the channel. It helps me out tremendously. Shows you want to see more of it in the future. Have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.